Hi everyone, welcome back to Cat's Book Nook. Today I'm going to be doing a library haul. Some of these are recommendations that I've seen on other people's booktube channels. Some of them are recommendations that I've gotten through emails from Bookshot and Goodreads. I want to say one might be from Free Booksy, an email that I get on Sundays with a lot of free books. Some of them have been on my list of to-be-read books for a really long time. And I went to the library because I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of books to take camping with us. I didn't realize I was picking up 9 books at the time. So let's get started because I don't know a whole lot about some of these books other than their recommendations. So I'm going to be reading the synopsis on the inside, so this video might get kind of long. If you want to click out of this, I completely understand. But let's get started so that way it doesn't take as long. So the first book up is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. A lot of people that I've seen in the last couple weeks have recommended this book. Like the cover. Whoever designed this did a fantastic job. But this is supposed to be about this girl who ends up... So this town does... I'll just read the inside of the cover instead of just sitting here speculating about what it is. Our dragon doesn't eat the girls he takes, no matter what stories they tell outside of our valley. We hear them sometimes from travelers passing through. They talk as though we are doing human sacrifice, and he were a real dragon. Of course, that's not true. He may be a wizard or an immortal, but he's still a man, and our fathers would band together and kill him if he wanted to eat one of us every 10 years. He protects us against the wood, and we're grateful, but not that grateful. The main character, I'm gonna butcher her name, so I'm not even gonna say it, loves her home valley, her quiet village, the forest, and the bright shining river. But the corrupted wood stands on the border, full of malevolent power, and its shadow lies over her life. Her people rely on the cold, driven wizard, known only as the dragon, to keep its powers at bay. But he demands a terrible price for his help. One young woman handed over to serve him for 10 years, a fate almost as terrible as falling to the wood. The next choosing is fast approaching, and main character is afraid. She knows, everyone knows, that the dragon will take Kasia? Beautiful, graceful, brave Kasia. All the things the main character isn't, and her dearest friend in the world. And there is no way to save her. But main character fears the wrong thing. For when the dragon comes, it's not Kasia he will choose. So, it's kind of an interesting retelling of the different fairy tales within one massive story. So, it'll be interesting to see what actually happens with this. It's got a lot of recommendations on the back. Lev Grossman, who did the Magician's Trilogy, Jacqueline Carey, who did Keishel's Legacy series, Tamara Pierce, Maggie Stiefvater, Robin Hobb, Cassandra Clare, Gregory McGuire, who did the Wicked series. Love that book. So, hopefully this lives up to the hype that all the endorsements on the back of it have, and all the booktubers have had so far too. Next up is Grave Mercy from Robin LaFevers. I think that's how you say her last name. One nick, the abbess says, just one scratch. And while I am loath to use a weapon of grace on 2 men such as these, I am certain Mortain will forgive me. I settle into my fighting stance. If he is smart, he will run, but he is not. He panics and lunges forward. I leap back and get the misericord between us. He connects with his bony knuckles, just a scratch, but he stiffens and then looks from his cut to my face. You can't win against Mortain's own, I whisper. So, it's an assassin's book. The main character is supposed to be in a arranged marriage. She's 17 years old. She ends up going to St. Mortain, where she finds sisters who serve the gods of old, so not Christian gods. And here she learns that the god of death himself has blessed her with dangerous gifts and a violent destiny. She chooses to stay at the convent. She will be trained as an assassin to serve as a handmaiden to death. To claim her new life, she must be willing to take the lives of others. So basically, she's got to figure out if she can take people's lives and how she takes them. And then she ends up going to a mistress who's fallen under a cloud of suspicion. Once there, she finds herself woefully underprepared, not only for the deadly games of love and intrigue, but for the impossible choices she must make. For how can she deliver death's vengeance upon a target who, against her will, has stolen her heart? I think that last sentence kind of might kill it for me. So this may be a DNF, but I'll give it a try, just because assassins and Middle Ages and non-Christian gods should be a good story. We'll see. Up next, third book that I picked up is The Book of Speculation by Erika Swyler. So I read the inside of the book. Dear Mr. Watson, I came across this book at auction as a part of a larger lot I purchased on speculation. So that's where the Book of Speculation comes in. The damage renders it useless to me, but a name inside it led me to believe it might be of interest to you or your family. So the main character, Simon Watson, who happens to be a young librarian, lives in a house that's slowly crumbling toward the Long Island Sound. Both of his parents are long dead. His mother happened to be a circus mermaid. His younger sister runs off to join the circus 6 years after their mother passes away. One June day, the book arrives. It's fragile and water damaged, but it talks about a traveling carnival from the 1700s who reports strange and magical things, including the drowning death of a circus mermaid, who, from way back, may or may not be part of Simon's family. And since the first death, there's always been a death on July 24th involving the circus mermaids from his family. His friend Alice looks on with alarm, but Simon becomes increasingly worried about his sister. What does a family curse have to do with a book, and can he stop the curse in time to save his sister? So, mermaids, circuses, random books from strangers might definitely be worth checking out. I'll probably review this because it's different. I'm not normally into historical fictions. I love The Little Mermaid, but haven't really read any other mermaid stories. So, I'm looking forward to all of the books on this list, but I'm kind of looking forward to this one a little bit more. This, Uprooted, and a couple other books in this stack. So, Book of Speculation. The next one is, I tried to get More Than This by Patrick Ness, but they didn't have it at the library that I went to, so I picked up The Rest of Us Just Live Here. It's supposed to be about a group of teenagers who, they're not the chosen ones of their story, so what happens when you're not the chosen one? It's a young adult fantasy fiction, and should be kind of interesting. So, yeah. We'll see what this one does. Apparently a lot of people really like his book, so like I said, I might not, but this book has been on my list for a while, so we'll see. The next one somebody else recommended. It's The Forbidden Wish by Jessica Khoury. It's supposed to be a Aladdin retelling about what happens if the genie was the love interest in the Aladdin story. She is the most powerful genie of all. He's a boy from the streets. Their love will shake the world. When Aladdin discovers Zahara's genie lamp, Zahara is thrust back into a world she hasn't seen in hundreds of years. A world where magic is forbidden and Zahara's very existence is illegal. She must disguise herself to stay alive using ancient shape-shifting magic until her new master has selected his 3 wishes. But when the king of Jinn offers Zahara a chance to be free of her lamp forever, she seizes the opportunity, only to discover she is falling in love with Aladdin. When saving her means betraying him, Zahara must decide once and for all, is winning her freedom worth losing her heart? As time unravels and her enemies close in, Zahara finds herself suspended between danger and desire in this dazzling retelling of the Aladdin story from acclaimed author Jessica Khoury. So I picked this book up because there's a lot of Cinderella retellings with Cinder. Trying to remember a few other ones that I've read lately. Beauty and the Beast, there's plenty of retellings on that. There's not a lot of Aladdin retellings. And it's definitely a different twist on the traditional Aladdin story, where the genie is male, Aladdin is male, and there's not really a whole lot of love lost between the 2 characters. So I'm interested to see how this story plays out. Because it is YA, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get through it fairly quickly, but I keep saying the word interesting, so that's probably the best way to say this. It'll be an interesting read regardless of how it plays out, so I'll probably do a review on this one too. Just because it is different. Made You Up by Francesca Zappia has been on my to be read list for a while. I actually thought this was only an ebook and was ecstatic to find out that this is actually a hard book. If I remember the synopsis correctly, this is about a young girl who basically lives in her own fantasy world. And the back of it says she was used to crazy. She wasn't prepared for normal. So it really doesn't give a whole lot of detail about what this book actually is about. But we'll see. So, Made You Up. This may come camping with us. A couple years ago, I read the Silver Linings Playbook, which I really liked. So I've been trying to get on the giveaway list for The Good Luck of Right Now by Matthew Quick, just because I thought it might be interesting. I didn't realize the library had this, and I think the other library that I was going to before we moved didn't have it, and I was always having to put it on hold, and when I put it on hold, it never seemed to come up. So I picked this up with this stack of books. The inside, call it fate, call it synchronicity, call it an act of God, call it the good luck of right now. Bartholomew Neal has always lived with his mom. When she got sick and dies, he has no idea how to be on his own. His grief counselor suggests that he needs to find his flock and leave the nest. But how does a man whose whole life has been grounded in his mom, Saturday Mass, and the library learn how to fly? So, the main character is 38 years old, and it's coming to terms with what do you do when the only thing you've known is the things that your mom instilled in you. So he's trying to find out where he belongs in this book, and that's a little bit about how the Silver Linings Playbook played out. Is the main character in that was trying to find out where he fit after he had a mental breakdown. And the mental breakdown wasn't really his fault, but he kept wanting to go back to his wife and wanting to get in contact with her, ex-wife at this point, wanting to get in contact with her, but nobody would help him out, and he couldn't understand why. And he's remembering later on in the story why he can't see her. And it does sort of have a happy ending because he does eventually end up seeing her. He doesn't talk to her at all. And she's moved on with her life. She's got 2 kids. She's remarried. They live in this house in town. And she's enjoying life. And he doesn't want to destroy that. So he ends up connecting with the female character in Silver Linings Playbook, who is also damaged after her young husband, who is a cop, gets killed. I don't remember if he gets hit by a car or what happens to him, but he dies, and she's still having to deal with the death of that, because to her, she's still married to him, even though he's been dead for a few years at that point. But everybody keeps telling her she needs to move on, she needs to move on. She's not ready to move on. And she meets the main character, the main male character, and finally finds someone she can move on to. Their relationship is damaged, so I'm kind of interested to see what the relationships in this book are going to end up being. But yeah, so The Good Luck of Right Now by Matthew Quick may end up going camping with us too. That's 2 out of 9 books. So these next 2 will probably end up going camping with us too, just to have something different to read. The next door is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I've read a few of her October Day books, and I like them. They're fairy based. So if you're into reading about fairies and the different situations that a halfling can find themselves in, I'm trying to remember where she's based out of. I want to say San Francisco. But she gets herself into a lot of different situations, and I think I've read up to book 5 so far. I'm waiting for that series to end, but that's not the book I'm talking about. Every Heart a Doorway is supposed to be children have always disappeared under the right conditions, slipping through the shadows under a bed or at the back of a wardrobe, tumbling down rabbit holes and into old wells and emerging somewhere else. But magical lands have little need for used-up miracle children. Nancy tumbled once, but now she's back. The things she's experienced, they change a person. The children under Miss West's care understand all too well, and each of them is seeking a way back to their own fantasy world. But Nancy's arrival marks a change at the home. There's a darkness just around each corner, and when tragedy strikes, it's up to Nancy and her newfound schoolmates to get to the heart of things, no matter the cost. So I'm thinking somebody passes away or dies in this mystery. So fantasy meets murder mystery meets Seanan McGuire. Very short read. There's actually supposed to be a sequel out. A lot of people have talked about this book, so I'm really hoping it lives up to the hype that a lot of people have said. So the last book on this list, and I promise I will shut up because this video is getting way too long, is Burnt Mountains by Anne Rivers Siddons. It's about this tomboy, Thayer Wentworth, who goes to summer camp in the North Carolina mountains, specifically Burnt Mountain. And she falls in love with her first love and has her first heartbreak. Years later, she marries an Irish professor, and they move back to Atlanta, Georgia, only miles from the camp that she went to on Burnt Mountain, where her father happens to die in a car accident. While dealing with the grandmother's death and the father's car accident, they live quiet, happy lives, but the professor gets invited to go up to the camp and start talking about the Irish tales that he learned as a boy. And as he spends less time at home and more time at the camp, Thayer starts to wonder what's really going on. And in order to find out what's going on with her husband, she's got to confront her past. And by confronting her past, she's got to confront the dark secrets that come with it about her mother, her first love, and most devastating of all, her husband. Burnt Mountain is a story about the way love can shape our lives and the things we keep from those who know us best. Chick lit, probably one of the few chick lit books you will ever see me reading on this channel. But chick lit reads are very short for me, so this probably won't take any time at all to get through. And hopefully I can get through it this weekend. But that's all the books that I picked up from the library this week. And I will let you guys know how those books play out in a video probably in the next couple weeks. With that, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Sunday. Bye.